Tonight, the Brewers and the New York Mets will start a three-game series, and while it is a game day here in Milwaukee and at Miller Park, our thoughts are on Darryl Hamilton and his family here today. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson. We welcome you inside Miller Park. This is a tough day for us. We have lost a member of our Brewers family here today. Darryl Hamilton died tragically at his home in Texas on Sunday night. We were learned of that news yesterday, and as we process all of this information, we think about Darryl. And yes, we will get on with the business of baseball today, but we also want to honor Darryl Hamilton today. He played for the Brewers 7 of his 13 years. He was in the Brewers Wall of Honor currently, and more than anything else, he was a great friend and a good man. Number of statements coming out, this one coming from Doug Melvin. All of us are stunned and saddened with the news of this horrible tragedy, something that is impossible for us to even begin to comprehend. Our thoughts and prayers go to Darryl's family and friends, and he will be greatly missed. Darryl was a wonderful player in our organization, but more importantly, he was a true gentleman and a great friend to many here. Statement from Commissioner Rob Manfred on Darryl Hamilton, who worked in the MLB office for some time. All of us at Major League Baseball are shocked and saddened by this tragedy. Darryl followed a successful 13-year career on the field by assembling a multifaceted career in our game, working for MLB Advanced Media and in our baseball operations division before moving on to MLB Network. And he continued to say he was a talented and personal individual, and we were proud to call him a member of the baseball family. On behalf of Major League Baseball, I extend my deepest sympathies to Darryl's family and his many friends throughout our game. From Commissioner Rob Manfred. Darryl also played for the New York Mets, big part of a couple of playoff teams there and a World Series team. The Mets issued this statement, saddened by the tragic death of Darryl Hamilton. Darryl's vibrant personality made him a key member of our postseason teams in '99 and 2000. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And bring in Bill Schroeder now. And Rock, this is it's a sad day, you know, and yeah. Darryl would certainly want to move on with baseball. He loved baseball. You were teammates with Darryl. He brought a lot to the table. He was part of our broadcasting group last year. That smile is what we're going to miss the most, I think.
Yeah, he was a guy that created energy. Everybody knows people that suck energy out of you, but Darryl was not one of those guys. Always had a smile on his face. He loved life. He loved baseball. He loved being a baseball player. And the one thing that I'll never forget about Darryl Hamilton, the fact that he could pay it forward. He was a big leaguer. He was a veteran. He always tried to teach young players how to act both on and off the field, play the game right, but he did it in a fun-loving way. He'd buy a suit for a guy. He'd buy dinner for a young player. That's what he learned when he came up, and that's what I remember most about Darryl Hamilton. Just a fun-loving guy, always with a smile on his face, and just loved being out on the field.
We wear our bow ties today. Darryl loved when we wore bow ties. He said, you guys need to step up your game and your dress. So we're doing this for Darryl tonight. We'll never look as good as Darryl Hamilton. He was our friend. He was our teammate. He was a real good guy, too. We're going to miss him a great deal. Darryl Hamilton is gone at age 50.
Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers. It's Miller time.
We are just about ready for baseball tonight. The pitching matchup, it'll be Jonathan Neese for the New York Mets, coming in with a 3-7 record against Mike Fiers, who's also 3-7, an ERA at 4.5. That gets us started on this 3-game series with the Mets sitting a game and a half out of first place to the Washington Nationals. The homestand begins. The Brewers and the Mets lineups in the first pitch coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Wisconsin.
Tonight from Miller Park, we start a 6-game homestand. Mike Fiers on the mound, and the Brew Crew taking on the New York Mets. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Good to be home once again. Brewers coming off a bit of a rough road trip at 1-4, facing Terry Collins and the New York Mets, who are contending this year. The Mets are a game over 500, a game and a half back of Washington. And here is Collins' Potawatomi batting order here tonight. Granderson, Tejada, and Lucas Duda at the top. Michael Kadire, Wilmer Flores, and Juan Lagares in the middle, with Kevin Plawecki, Dilson Herrera, and Jonathan Neese rounding out the starting 9. That will face right-hander Mike Fiers, making start number 15, partner.
He had a stretch of 7 consecutive starts where he allowed 3 or less runs. That came to an end his last time out, a loss against the Royals in Kansas City. 6 runs, 5 innings pitched, a rough outing for him. He's made 1 career start against the Mets. That came back all the way back in 2012.
First pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike called by Larry Vanover, and away we go tonight. Just a beautiful night for baseball here. Fiers trying to get the Brewers back to winning ways. That one victory on the last road trip was on Friday against the Colorado Rockies. Brewers lost both games of the weekend set with the Rockies. Meanwhile, the Mets have lost a season high 5 straight. So they're trying to get the pieces put together as well. The Mets have only scored 6 runs in the last 5 games. And Rock, they were shut out yesterday 1-0 in Atlanta. Beg your pardon, Sunday 1-0 in Atlanta.
Yeah, they just can't put any runs on the board. Their defense has been very poor on this road trip. The only thing really that they're doing very well right now is their starting pitching. You know, their starting pitching's been good. Their bullpen is a bit of a shambles at times, but sooner or later these guys are going to snap out of it. They're in contention. That starting rotation is excellent.
Jacob deGrom, the rookie of the year last year, will get the ball on Thursday afternoon. 1-2 to Granderson, and down he goes. Good way to start the night for Mike Fiers. Overhand curveball for a strikeout. How about the Menards Brewers defense?
Well, you got to start with Carlos Gomez. Great to have go back in the lineup. That first start in center field since June 14th. He did DH in Kansas City, so he's back in center. Parr and Braun on either side of Gomez. You got Ramirez, Segura, Perez, and Lynn from third to first, and Luke behind home plate.
Gomez dealing with a hip injury. At least that's where the pain is in his hip. Actually starts from the groin area, and so the Brewers have been very cautious with Gomez, thinking he might end up needing to go on the disabled list. And if that was the case, they were going to backdate it to his last game. Did not play in any of the games in Colorado. Matter of fact, has not played since his last start, which was in Kansas City, which was on Wednesday.
Man, he looked pretty good on Wednesday. Had a couple of hits, did Gomez. Got to keep him in the lineup.
Gomez, of course, a former Met. He knows many of these players, especially Juan Lagares. They are the best of friends in the offseason. 2 of the most talented center fielders in the game matching up in this series. Ruben Tejada takes one upstairs. 2 balls, 1 strike on the Mets third baseman. Fiers has the full hockey playoff beard going here tonight. You could hide a few things in that beard. It's a pop-up. Foul territory. Adam Lind will make the call. He's got it for out number 2. Well, you heard Larry Vanover barking out the balls and strikes tonight. He's also the crew chief. Ron Kolpa, Vic Carapazza, Brian McKnight are the base umpires this evening.
Now, important for, I should say, Mike Fiers to have that good overhand curveball. He threw a good one to Granderson to strike him out. When he's got that one going, he's in for a good night. Didn't really have it going for him in Kansas City, but showed a good one early tonight.
Lucas Duda with 2 away. Noticeably absent from the Mets lineup, David Wright, and there is major concern with Wright that he might not be able to return this season. His career is somewhat in jeopardy. Spinal stenosis is his diagnosis, and David Wright, that is a very scary injury. Spinal stenosis, I should say, and one of the reasons why he's had back and neck problems throughout the years. Actually had surgery on a fracture in his back in the past, so a lot of question marks about third base and the Mets moving forward. Also, Daniel Murphy is on the disabled list with a quad injury. He has been the Mets' best hitter for average and an extremely tough out.
And a pretty good defender as well. Had a very good series against the Brewers in New York, did Murphy.
2-1 pitch to Duda, and the shift is on. There's a man right there, Segura, and a 1-2-3 inning for Mike Fiers. Off and running at Miller Park. Here come the Brewers to the plate.
for the Mets in the top of the first, and Counsell ready to send his batting order out there to face left-hander Jonathan Nice. Potawatomi lineup. Segura leads off once again. Lucroy bats second, then Ryan Braun. In the middle it is Gomez, Lind, and Ramirez. Parra, Hernan Perez, and Mike Fiers round it out.
Well, left-hander Jonathan Nice making his 14th start of this season. He's in a bad stretch right now. He's 0-5 in his last 7 starts with a .630 earned run average. He's been giving up some runs, although last 3 times out have not been all that bad. 8 earned runs in 20 innings. That's a .360 ERA his last 3 times out.
This has been a very good Mets starting rotation. Nice has been the worst of the bunch, but outside of a 3-7 record, a 4.21 ERA, not that bad considering. But they have some heavy hitters in their starting rotation. You got Matt Harvey, who pitched on Sunday in Atlanta. Segura bounces to third. Tejada's got it, and there is the first out.
I only mentioned that the Mets have not been playing very good defense as of late. Let's check out the Menards defense. Former Twin Michael Kadire, former Twin and Rocky Kadire, Lagares and Granderson in the outfield. Tejada, Flores, Herrera, and Lucas Duda at first base. Kevin Plawecki behind home plate. 5th most errors in the National League with 46.
Plawecki getting the starting nod once again today. Travis d'Arnaud, their talented young catcher, is out with an elbow strain, which occurred in a plate collision in Atlanta. Hyperextended his elbow. So Plawecki gets the call once again. Jonathan Lucroy. 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Lucroy comes in with a batting average of .231. On base percentage at .275. 2 areas that you don't expect to see from Lucroy, but his season was delayed to start with a toe injury. Spent a good part of April and into May on the disabled list with that fractured big toe on his left foot.
He's still not really feeling 100% at home plate. I mean, he's feeling healthy, but feeling for the ball at times, and not consistently driving it into right field like we know Lucroy can. It's going to be very important for the Brewers to stay on Nice. He doesn't pitch too much inside, although he will cut his fastball inside. Throws 5 different pitches, and a lot of them off speed.
He's put back-to-back outings together. Actually, you could go back and look at 3 in a row for Nice, where the Mets feel like he's been able to turn his season around. He's gone 6 innings, 7 innings, and 7 innings in his last 3 starts. 2 of those 3 on the road. Gave up 3 earned runs at Toronto back on the 17th of June. Went 7 innings in that game. And this pitching staff is to be reckoned with this year. Their starters are the reason the Mets are over 500 and in a pennant race. They are certainly hunting for some offense right now. Jacob deGrom will get the ball Thursday. Bartolo Colon tomorrow. The Brewers are going to miss Harvey and Noah Syndergaard. Slow roller again. Tejada on the run, cuts down Lucroy for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Ryan Braun, who is in our T-Mobile Game Changer spotlight tonight. And we're talking about the damage that he does on the first pitch. He has the second highest batting average in the big leagues this year on the first pitch. Only Buster Posey does more damage on the first offering. Braun hitting at .513, and 8 of his 14 home runs have come on the first pitch.
Yeah, first pitch. If you're going to swing at it, normally you're going to hit it pretty well in the big leagues, particularly guys like Braun. If you don't like it, don't swing at it. There you go again.
And right on cue, Ryan Braun with a single into left center. A 2-out single here in the first inning.
And you would think that it would be a fastball down the middle that he's looking for. But it wasn't. It was a breaking pitch from Nice. He saw those statistics. These guys do their homework, so they give him a first pitch breaking ball. And look what Braun does. Right down on it toward the end of the bat and dumps it into center.
Which will give Carlos Gomez a swing here in this first inning.
He's been like the caged hyena trying to get himself back in the lineup, has Gomez. Been running the bases. He's been working out with the athletic trainers, doing baseball related activities that don't put so much pressure on that groin and hip area until the last couple of days, as Rock mentioned. He was flying around the bases during batting practice drills on Sunday, so much so we thought he might be in the lineup that day.
He looked good, but it's still a controlled environment for him. What the Brewers are concerned about is that quick break, whether it be in the outfield or after making contact at the plate, that first step getting out of the batter's box, that's going to be tricky.
Gomez was very measured in his steps when he was trying to play through the injury. Even when he had a double in Kansas City, probably would have been a triple for most Gomez batted balls in that direction, but he decided to pull up at second. He's got a runner at first and Braun with a lot of speed. 2 outs in the inning. On the ground in the hole, that'll sneak through, a base hit. Back-to-back singles for Milwaukee, Braun and Gomez.
Yeah, good way to start. We mentioned that when he was the DH in Kansas City, had a couple of hits his first 2 times up. And Flores just not able to get there and trickles into left field. Good to have him in the lineup. He makes a lot of things happen. A lot of energy out there for Gomez.
So Lind will step in with 2 on and 2 out. Brewers have 2 lefties in their starting lineup tonight with the left-hander Nice.
Yeah, on Sunday against the left-hander in Colorado, the Brewers had 3. Shane Peterson was in the lineup. Greg Counts was raving about Peterson today around the batting cage.
Might see Peterson later in this game. There's a strike to Adam Lind. Adam hitting .276. He's on base just a touch over .350 this year. And a shot back up the middle and a base hit. Here comes Braun, and he will score. There was a play at second. Gomez did get back. That could have been close, but he does get back, and Braun scores the run. Adam Lind with a 2-out RBI single.
Yeah, trying to get Gomez rounding that bag a little bit too far, but that was a nice piece of hitting by Adam Lind. Didn't try and pull it. Hits it into center field, and I thought for a second there might be a play at home plate. Juan Lagares with a cannon out in center field, but elected to throw it behind the runner and into second base.
Brewers take the first lead tonight, scoring right out of the gates against Jonathan Nice. 3 consecutive 2-out hits. That'll bring up Aramis Ramirez. Been a lot of rumors surrounding Ramirez and the Mets and a potential trade partner with the Brewers. The Mets, as we mentioned, the David Wright scenario. They are looking for a third baseman. And Ramirez's name has come up quite often. You never know, if he has a good series against Terry Collins' club, he might just go with him. Who knows? Feels like the Brewers are certainly going to be trading some pieces at some point. The trade deadline is the end of July. And so this will be a key stretch here the next 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, Ramirez has had some nice games, but hasn't been able to do it on a consistent basis like he has in his first few years with the team.
Now Ramirez does have some success to call on against Jonathan Nice. His career numbers, .316 batting average with a couple of home runs. Nice has hit him with a pitch as well. That covers 19 at-bats. Pretty decent sample size there for Ramirez.
He's got a decent sample size against everybody.
That's true. Anybody who's been around a little bit.
Right.
Because Ramirez has been around a lot of bit. Came into the big leagues in 1998 as a 19-year-old with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Full count. Runners go. Pitches down and in. Ball 4. 4 consecutive base runners here with 2 outs.
And Nice was able to get Segura and Lucroy relatively easily, and ever since that time it's been rough. He's been getting a lot of the play with his pitches, and because of that he's been a little bit too fine with Ramirez and walks him.
Ramirez not a guy that walks very often, just his 9th of the season, and a first inning visit from pitching coach Dan Warthen.
Yeah, I think that Nice wanted that last pitch called a strike. You can read his lips. Said it was a strike. Of course, his catcher didn't help him out by dropping the baseball.
Well, that'll set up a bases loaded situation for Gerardo Parra. Batting 7th in this Brewers lineup. 4 singles and a walk with 2 away. A run is in. Adam Lynn driving in Ryan Braun, and here's Parra. Chance to do more damage in the first. Parra's really swinging the bat well. You go back to a date in April 25th. Mark the line on that date. Gerardo Parra is 5th in the National League in batting average since. Rolls over that one right to Herrera, and that will retire the side. Brewers get a run though. They score a run on an Adam Lynn 2-out single.
You know, the Brewers, with a 1-0 lead, and Mets manager Terry Collins and his club are looking for some offense. Over the road trip, they scored 6 runs in their last 5 games and were shut out for the 7th time this season on Sunday in Atlanta. And he said, like every team in baseball, we ask a lot of the middle of our order, our big hitters, but he said it's been our 7, 8, 9 hitters. He said earlier in the road trip in Toronto, they hurt us, but then they picked us up in Atlanta. So he said it takes everyone on the lineup. We're asking them to all do the best they can. He said sometimes you need to ask those bottom of the order guys to carry you when your offense is struggling.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Yeah, the Mets had it going a little bit before they started on this road trip. They had won 5 out of 6 games on their last homestand, including wins over the Giants and their division rival, the Atlanta Braves. Had back-to-back wins at Citi Field against Toronto. But they have not won since, Rock. Their last win came on June 16th. They are 0-for on this current road trip. This is game 6.
Yeah, just not able to get enough runs to get over the top. I mean, they lost the game 1-0. That tells you that their pitching has been pretty consistent, but you know, defense, driving in runs has been a trouble spot for them. We can understand. I mean, David Wright's been out just about all season. You got Murphy on the DL, Darno back hurt. Those are 3 big components of their offense that have not been able to participate.
Michael Kadyr's having a bit of a down season.
compared to what they had hoped out of Kadire this year. He won a batting title 2 years ago with the Rockies. He had .331 with Colorado in 2013. He's been dealing with some neck problems, been in and out of the lineup, had a hand injury in April. 36 years of age now, and the first of a 2-year deal with the Mets.
Mets have been grounding into a ton of double plays this year, and Kadire leads the list. 12 double plays he's grounded into. He's had a terrific season, or I should say a career.
Yeah, great years with the Twins. They've been bouncing around a little bit since. Rockies wanted him back, but they only offered him a 1-year deal. He took a 2-year offer from the Mets. Fires, puts him away. A swing and a miss on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
And that's that sneaky fastball that Fires possesses and gets it by a pretty good fastball hitter, and that was pretty much down the middle of the plate. But that's what Fires can do when he gets ahead in the count.
Hitters will tell you that Fires is extremely difficult to pick up. It's one of the reasons why his numbers are typically pretty good early in games. There's a little soft liner to left, in and out of the glove of Parra. And Wilmer Flores is aboard with the Mets' first hit.
Boy, that's a great effort. Once he wasn't able to catch it, he was able to keep it close. Check this out, a diving catch, but now he realized he's not going to be able to get to it. And able to smother it, keep it close, and Flores has to stay at first base. That's a very good play by Gerardo Parra right there.
Could have easily turned into 2, maybe 3, with the Mets shortstop running. So Fires retires 4 in a row. Now the first hit. And here is Juan Lagares.
Fires normally is pretty good first time through the batting order because of that factor, that sneaky delivery, that unorthodox delivery that he has, and it fools hitters. But as he gets through the game, hitters start to zero in on him a little bit.
Now, first time through the order, Fires has an opponent batting average of .237. Second time through, it's at .287, and the third time through, it's nearly .400.
Doesn't take long for major league hitters to make adjustments. They see the ball out of his hand. Mentioned he's worked out of the bullpen once since his first only start against the Mets back in 2012. So these Mets haven't seen too much of him.
Juan Lagares with a runner at first and one away. Into center field, Gomez coming in. He'll take that one away from his buddy. And 2 gone for Fires in the second inning. Feels like the Mets are a perfect opponent for Mike Fires if he has good stuff. And the reason being, Fires is up near the tops in the major leagues in pitches per plate appearance. Well, the Mets are a team like the Brewers that do a lot of their work early in counts. They swing with 0-0 counts, 0-1 counts. They'll swing at breaking balls first pitch. They're a very aggressive hitting team. Granderson, one of the few guys that will take a walk in this lineup now. So when you start putting those metrics together, batting averages on times through the batting order for Fires, and the fact that the Mets do swing early, you could see a scenario if Fires is on his game. He could get deep into this game without having to get too deep into the third time through the lineup.
And the other side of that, he's got to be very careful early in the count. He can't just throw a fastball down the middle to get ahead. Be on the corners, get that curveball over for strikes early. Typically, hitters that consistently attack early in the count don't like to hit with 2 strikes. They become very defensive with 2 strikes. Some hitters don't mind, like Jonathan Lucroy. He doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes normally. That's why he takes pitches. He'll work the count a little bit.
2 outs, runner at first. Kevin Plawecki, the Mets catcher. Just got a piece. A little cutter from Mike Fires.
Fires appears to have his curveball in play early in this one. That's always a big pitch for Fires, not only because of the break of the pitch, but also the change of pace on that curveball. He'll throw that curveball in the low 70s. 15 to 18 miles an hour off of his fastball, and he needs that deception.
And when you throw it first pitch, it doesn't even have to be a real good one. Just flip it up there, get it for a called strike, because not many hitters are going to swing at that pitch when they see it first pitch. Granite's pouring over the scouting reports. His work is never over.
Plawecki, a bit of a newcomer to those scouting reports. Had his contract selected on April 21st. He's actually been swinging the bat pretty well. That's game notes have him hitting at a .389 clip over his last 8, and he has hits in 7 of those last 8. Ground ball, fair ball. Ramirez knocks it down, and no play. And that'll be an infield hit with 2 away, and the Mets have 2 on. 2 singles in this inning off Fires.
Yeah, it would have been a tough play, even if Ramirez was able to, keep it in the glove.
Dilson Herrera playing second base in the absence of Daniel Murphy. Spent some time on the disabled list. Had a finger injury, and he's an aggressive hitter as well. He swings and fouls it back.
Yep, Herrera filling in for Murphy. Tejada instead of Wright. And Plawecki instead of Darno. That's a big difference.
Herrera's in a slump right now. He is hitless in his last 11 at-bats. Finger injuries, hand injuries, those are so tough for hitters to come back from. Herrera just came back from his fractured finger on June 10th. But he is going to get the playing time here in the short term. Fires has him down 0-2. Got the pitcher due up next. 2 on, 2 out. Got him. Went up the ladder, and down he goes. A strikeout for Fires, his 3rd. He puts up a scoreless frame in the 2nd. Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Back at it, bottom of the second. Miller Park, Milwaukee. Hernan Perez leading off for the Brew Crew. 1-0 Brewers on an Adam Lynn 2-out RBI single. And now Perez sends one deep to left. And that'll get down and go to the wall. Hernan Perez really starting to swing it. He's been getting a lot of playing time here lately. And Rocky is now 10 for 20 over his last 8 games.
No, he's never had this kind of playing time, consistent playing time in the big league. Certainly didn't get it in Detroit. Nice quiet, not much of a leg kick. He just picks that heel up and nice balance and down and through the baseball. And boy, the more he plays, the more productive he gets. So leadoff double allows Mike Fiers to drop down a bunt. They play him just about everywhere. Starting to hit.
Double number 4 for Hernan Perez. And the Mets creep their corner infielders in, expecting a bunt from Mike Fiers. A strike from Nice. A good way to start the inning. Perez thriving with the latest run on the field that he has had. He and Scooter Gennett operating in a bit of a platoon right now with the left-hander on the mound, but Perez has gotten a lot of playing time at third base as well. So he's been spelling Aramis Ramirez. Had a couple of starts in the Colorado series at third base. Matter of fact, 3 of his 4 doubles have come in the last 5 games for Perez. And they take a look at him at second. Pretty good play by Wilmer Flores to keep that one out of center field. Perez was ready to run.
Yeah, no kidding. He did a nice job with the glove. He stuck it out there and able to keep it close. Sometimes a guy at second base, he knows his pitcher's going to be bunting. He tries to get a little bit of extra secondary lead to try and beat that play at third base.
Fiers gets it down. Nice up with it and thought about third. He'll take the sure out at first. Sacrifice bunt for Mike Fiers. Well, we invite you to own the future at the Buck Season Ticket Open House on Thursday, June 25th at the BMO Harris Bradley Center. And beginning at 4 p.m., fans can purchase the best seats available for the 2015-2016 season. Be the first to step onto the newly redesigned court, and you can watch the Bucks select the newest member at the draft. For more details, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the upcoming events tab. Gene Segura back to the top of the order with a runner at third and 1 out. Segura certainly not your prototypical leadoff hitter. He is in the fact that he runs very well, but he is a free swinger at the plate. And he dribbles that one to the right side. Duda knocks it down. And a bang play at first. Both players go sprawling. Out is the call at first base. And now a timeout is granted with Perez still at third base. And athletic trainers of both teams and both managers coming out to check on their players.
Well, Gene Segura looked like he might have popped the knee when that play first happened. And check it out. Both getting there at the same time. A little bit of contact and Segura off balance, and could have been a lot worse for both of them.
That was a heck of a play by Herrera. Look what he does. Instead of fielding the ground ball, he hustles to the bag, which put him right in a perpendicular line with Segura.
Yeah, for some reason, Jonathan Nice just didn't break off the mound. Oh, what a collision, huh? Boy, looks like they're both going to be all right. That was a tough call for Perez, though, at third base. I mean, the infield was in. Wanted to make sure that ball went through, and by if Duda, he gets it, he has to dive for it. If Perez goes right away, he's going to be able to score. But it's a tough read off the bat.
That was a really heads-up play by Dilson Herrera. First, he's thinking he's going to field his ground ball, and if he fields it, there's nobody at first base to cover for him. He stopped running.
Yeah, Nice didn't even bother getting over there. That was a problem right there, and then it became very awkward.
So it'll be up to Lucroy here with 2 away and a runner at third. The putout goes 3-4 to retire Segura. And a strike to Lucroy.
The only time you really see that is on a bunt play.
Perez with a leadoff double. Lucroy's got a little history with Jonathan Nice. He has 6 hits in 19 at-bats. Over to third, big hop for Tejada, and the side is retired. Brewers cannot cash in on a leadoff double. We head to the third at Miller Park. Dilson Herrera at first base. 1-0 Brewers head to the top of the third. And a reminder that Fox Sports Wisconsin is proud to welcome RBI participants from Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee to today's Brewers game. All part of the Fox Sports Young Fans Week. Fox Sports Fan Express buses will help take over 1,000 kids to games in partnership with our regional sports networks across the country. Great program.
Yeah.
Love to have them here at Miller Park. It is a perfect night for baseball in Milwaukee, Wisconsin tonight.
Yep, roof is open. No rain. That's only on off days when we're home.
They were lining up 2 by 2 yesterday, weren't they?
Oh, man. Cleared up, though. A little windy, but beautiful night tonight.
The pitcher, Jonathan Nice, leads off. Very good hitting pitcher, by the way. Fires ahead of him quickly, 0-2. Bouncer to Ramirez, and he's got him. First out of the third for Mike Fiers.
Hey, that brings us to tonight's Tavern, the game winner. It's Flop's Fifth Avenue Bar in Shell Lake. That's in northwestern Wisconsin, if you didn't know. Shell Lake. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers 2015 home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Sounds like a good place to hang out.
Klopp's Fifth Avenue Bar.
One away for Fiers, back to the top of the order, and the second time through the order against Fiers. Curtis Granderson, a strikeout victim to start the game today.
Good to see all our Fox Wisconsin folks that were in the Dells made it back okay. Except for all you haven't seen him. He's probably still up there on water slides.
Still applying the aloe to the sunburn, probably.
Hanging out at Congo Bongo. That's right up Augie's alley, you know.
Yeah, good work up there, everybody, at the Dells this weekend. Looked like a lot of fun. Granderson sends one high and foul, and that'll be up into the stands. Well, tonight's game being produced by Brad Weimer, directed by Matt Gangle. Good to have Matt back with us. Does much of his work now with the Twins and on the National Fox. Right back home, though, for Matt. Used to direct Brewers games back in the day.
No, he's the big boss, you know, in the regional network here. Making everybody nervous.
Granderson sends that one to right. That is way back and goodbye. Long home run. Curtis Granderson sends one way out of here up into the bleachers in right field. Home run number 10 for Granderson, and the Mets have tied it at 1.
And leadoff hitter with big power. Fires got him his first time up on a curveball, caught him looking, but he missed his spot there. You saw Lucroy's glove. Wanted on the outside corner and caught middle in, and Granderson hit that one a ton.
So a 1-out homer. Here's Tejada. Fires through the batting order the first time. The Mets went 2 for 9. And Granderson connecting on his second at bat. Tejada popped up into foul territory his first time up. That ball's hit deep left field, hooking, and it is foul, but way out of here.
Yeah, that was a curveball. Left that one up, middle of the plate. Got on the side of that one. Looked more like a curved slider combination. Didn't really get on top of it. That's why it hung up in the zone.
Fires has him down in the count. A ball and 2 strikes. Like a little changeup.
Yeah, that's a pitch he's really been fighting this season. That was a good pitch for him for a couple of years, but he's trying to find it. If he's able to get that and throw that curveball and fastball, that's going to be, that's what Mike Fiers is able to dominate out there. Get those big strikeout games. He's got to keep throwing it, work it in.
Looks like he wants to go back to that change. Here's a 2-2. Got him. That was perfectly located, and Tejada strikes out. He doubled him up on the changeup.
Well, Lucroy finally got there. He shook him off a couple of times at Fires, but you can always tell when a changeup's coming. A catcher's going to set up pretty much right down the middle. Look at the movement on it, like a circle change going down and in as it gets to home plate.
Strikeout number 4 for Fires, and 2 away in the inning. Here is Lucas Duda. Duda grounded out his last time up. A major home run threat that the Mets are hoping will start to get loose with the home run ball. He's at 10 this year. He has 20 doubles as well. He's actually up in the top 3 in the National League in doubles this season.
Yeah, 32 walks. I think they're pitching around him a little bit. You know, if they have the ability to, you know, work around him in the batting order. Apparently they're doing. He's walked 32 times.
He's got a high on base. Slugging could be higher, but in good shape. He's got an OPS around 850. That's a big ballpark in New York City Field. It is a pitcher friendly park. Takes a lot of home runs away.
Noisy too.
A lot of air traffic going on there at Citi Field coming out of LaGuardia. Must be very peaceful for the Mets players here at Miller Park.
Yeah, very tranquil. You can actually hear the organ.
Dean Roscoe playing that organ tonight. One of the many things we love about returning to Miller Park. Nobody does it better.
No.
Look how calm they all are. Here's a 2-2. And he hits that one hard. Knocks it through the shift. Lucas Duda with a base hit with 2 away. And even with 3 infielders on the right side, he still is able to muscle one through there.
And Perez in short right field still hits it hard enough. Gets it by him on one hop. I can pack a punch in that swing.
Michael Kadire now with 2 away. A strikeout victim in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, second time through the batting order. The Mets are getting some better swings off of Mike Fiers. That's what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about the batting averages as he gets through the game. Guys start to see the baseball a little bit better. They know where that baseball, the release point is.
Broken bat right to Segura. He'll go the easy way to end the inning. A run is in on a Curtis Granderson home run. We're all tied at 1.
We head to the Brewers in half of the 3rd. Hey, this Friday the Brewers kick off their weekend series against the Twins with another free shirt Friday giveaway, as all fans of Miller Park for the series opener get a Jonathan Lucroy t-shirt courtesy of Quick Trip. For tickets, visit Brewers.com today.
We got an advanced copy of the shirt here in the booth. I like him. Feels soft as well as Ryan Braun starts his inning. It's got the Luke signature. This is not your size, though. It's not husky. It's a medium.
Not husky?
Not husky. Husky size.
Okay.
By the way, Rock, thanks for the bow ties. We thought we would honor Darryl Hamilton with these bow ties tonight, and you have a stack of bow ties with you, and we were able to dig through the pile. We appreciate that. Daryl always wanted us to wear bow ties. He loved. He wore a bow tie himself, and he was always trying to say, "You guys need to step your game up. Put your bow tie on in a pocket square."
He's a great, wasn't he? Daryl Hamilton. I just miss him so much. I mean, just a good guy to be around. We mentioned on the open, you know how you have people that just suck energy out of you. It's just so much work to be around him, but he was just the opposite. I mean, he just loved being around baseball. He loved life, you know, and it was good to see him around the ballpark last year, filling in for you.
Ryan Braun draws the walk. Well, Daryl is certainly a guy that we love seeing walk into the room. He brightened it up, and we're going to miss him badly. He's in our trivia tonight, brought to you by Carsoup.com. Who did Daryl replace in center field on the night of his major league debut, June 3rd of 1988? He spent 7 of his 13 years with the Brewers, did Daryl, and he had a great run with the Mets too. We really appreciate Gary Cohen, the Mets television play-by-play announcer, and John Heyman, who is a terrific writer and was a columnist at the time back in the late 90s, early 2000s in New York, and covered Daryl and was a colleague of Daryl's at MLB Network. John and Gary joined us for a pregame tribute. They had some terrific words. Terry Collins was kind enough to join us as well. There's Gary on the right with Ron Darling. Gomez whistles one into center right at Lagares for out number 1.
I got a number of texts over the last couple of days from some teammates of ours. You know, Greg Bach, weighed in, heard from Rillo today, Jeff Cirillo, and many others. And Daryl was a fantasy camp coach last year. I've been wanting to get Daryl down there for many years. He finally agreed to do it, and he was going to come this year coming up, and well, he just the guys loved him down there. And got a lot of text from some of the fantasy campers expressing their condolences, and going to be missing a lot of different ways, a lot of different walks of life.
Well, we're dedicating this telecast to Hambone, thinking about his family, his 3 children, his 2 boys who are both ball players down in Texas. That's tough. Really hasn't sunk in yet that he's gone. Too young. He was 50.
And one of the good guys, as you mentioned, the guy that you just wanted to be around. Always positive attitude, brought energy to wherever he was.
Adam Lind with 1 away drove in a run, the lone run for the Brewers. That was in the first, and a 2-out single. Ryan Braun at first with 1 away, and Neese wants to start over again with his catcher. Broken bat, liner to short, 4-out number 2. If you'd like to send some of your thoughts of Daryl Hamilton, if you have a memory, if you maybe were a fan at County Stadium when he was playing here in Milwaukee, feel free to do that. We'd love to hear from you. And you can tweet us at FS Wisconsin, at Brewers Fan Camp. You can come in at Brewers as well. We'll get all of those, and we'll at some point try to assemble those and make sure that Daryl's kids, especially his boys, get a look at some of those. As Ramirez skies to left, and that will retire the side. We are dedicating our broadcast tonight to Daryl Hamilton. Passed away Sunday at his home in Texas.
Fourth we go. And Mike Fiers back at work. He'll face Wilmer Flores, Juan Lagares, Kevin Plawecki. First three up for the Mets. Fiers giving up a run last inning. Home run to Curtis Granderson. Brewers scored their run in the first on an Adam Lynn 2-out RBI single and scored Braun. And Fiers starts Flores with a first pitch breaking ball.
Thought that was a strike. That was a pretty good pitch. Larry Vanover thought it was high. Such an important pitch for Fiers to be able to throw that curveball. First pitch for a strike.
Two pitches that looked like they were both strikes.
Man, to everybody but the home plate umpire.
He's the only one that counts. Flores brings some punch to this Mets lineup. He has 10 home runs this year. And he walks on 4 consecutive pitches. So Fiers issues a leadoff walk here in the fourth. Second time Flores has reached. He's got a single and a walk. Flores is not a guy that walks very often. That's only his 9th.
No, the first 2 pitches were strikes. According to Fox Tracks, and Fox Tracks doesn't lie.
Here's Juan Lagares now. Gold Glove center fielder last year. Last 3 Gold Glove winners in center field. Carlos Gomez, 2013. Or 2012, I should say. 2013 was Andrew McCutchen. And then Juan Lagares won it last year.
And great range. He's got a terrific throwing arm. Maybe one of the best throwing arms of anybody in the big leagues, as far as, you know, being able to throw the ball with some velocity and his accuracy.
And you know, he's playing with a torn ligament in his elbow that most who cover the Mets every day feel like he's going to require surgery at some point. So he only really lets it loose when he has to, and when he has to, and he does let it loose, he's about as impressive as there is.
And maybe that's why he didn't try to get Braun at home plate in the first inning. Maybe that elbow issue.
Last year, Lagares had 15 outfield assists, 3rd most in all of the major leagues. And he brings a little pop to the plate as well. He's another guy that doesn't take a whole lot of pitches. He doesn't walk much. Got a .270 batting average. On base percentage is at .298. A ball and 2 strikes. Little tapper. Fiers. Got to hurry it up. Throw to first is just in time. Good play by Fiers. Calm and cool.
Ball had a
first
little
out.
funny spin on it. Almost overran it, but able to make the adjustment to get the out. Watch away this ball when it hits the ground, and Fiers thinks he has to go over. Then he has to reach back. But he's able to get the out by a step.
That will advance the runner to second, Flores. And here is the catcher, Kevin Plawecki. Fiers is not getting that call.
He doesn't like it. Harry Vano doesn't like it up there in the zone. Get it down a little bit, he's going to call it. What a difference, 0-1 or 1-0. At the strike zone.
Fiers is a very unusual non-power pitcher that exists and thrives up in the strike zone. That's in the dirt, and on his way to third goes Flores. That's a big one there for the Mets. They get a runner at third with just 1 out on a wild pitch.
See, Mike Fiers really trying to work in that changeup. Another changeup here. This one skips off of Lucroy, and that's one that Luke will tell you should have kept close, but could not.
That is the 37th wild pitch of the year by the Brewer pitching staff. And Plawecki into left field. Parra rounds it. He's got a great arm. Flores on the go, and the throw to the plate is late. And that wild pitch hurts Fiers. A run scores. 2-1 Mets.
And the walk. And a leadoff walk in the inning. Looked like two of those pitches that were called balls were strikes. And Flores decent speed. A little bit too deep for Parra to be able to get an out.
That is another area that the Brewers pitchers, specifically the starting pitchers, have to clean up a little bit. Catchers, any catcher worth his salt will tell you he's got to keep everything in front, and that's a fair argument, but 37 wild pitches.
That's a lot. Yep. Those are all extra bases. You eliminate double play opportunities.
That leads the National League.
And next closest is 25. So the Brewers ahead by plenty.
Not a category you want to have a runaway lead on.
Cardinals have only had 18 wild pitches.
That ball's hit deep to left. Dilson Herrera sends it back to the track, and there is Parra to retire the side. So Fiers gives up a run, a walk, a wild pitch, and a sac fly, and it's 2-1. Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. 2-1 Mets. Kevin Plawecki, the Mets rookie catcher, with a sacrifice fly to give them the lead. And here we go to the bottom of the fourth. Gerardo Parra will lead off for the Brew Crew. Hernan Perez to follow, and then Mike Fiers. Bottom of the order coming up here. First pitch curveball in there for a strike from Nice. Brewers got to Nice in the first. They had 4 consecutive base runners with 2 outs. 3 singles and a walk, and Adam Lind had an RBI single. Slow roller to second. Dilson Herrera flips it over to Duda for out number 1. This guy's got some pretty good action around second base, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He has good hands and very quick reaction. Doesn't appear that that collision with Segura's affected him at all.
Yeah, those two came together in the second inning. Hard collision. Both went to the ground. Both all right.
Hernan Perez, who is known as a first pitch swinger, decided he'd stand up there and take one. Good idea. First pitch ball. He's not waiting around much longer than that, though. And
I'll take one, but not two.
Fly ball to center field for the second out.
Well, you could see that coming. He knew Nice was going to throw a strike. Hey, all fans at Miller Park this Sunday for the weekend finale between the Brewers and the Twins will get a bobblehead of Brewers Hall of Famer and current Twins manager Paul Molitor. That's courtesy of Clements. Visit Brewers.com to reserve your spot today.
Molitor's Twins are hanging right in there. The Kansas City Royals are hot right now. They've won 6 of their last 10. They swept the Brewers in that 4-game set. Twins are 3.5 back of the Royals in the AL Central. Minnesota hosting the White Sox tonight. They lead it 2-1. Leading Jeff Samardzija and the White Sox tonight. That game's going to the 5th inning. Twins will be here on Friday.
Yeah. Brewers took 2 out of 3 against the Twins in Minneapolis. Twins are actually 4 games under 500 on the road. 10 over at home.
Very similar position as the Mets. Mets are even worse. The Mets are 10-24 away from Citi Field this year. It's incredible.
Right.
And they're over 500 for the season. 14 under on the road. They're 1 over on the season and a game and a half back of the Washington Nationals. How about those splits right there? And the Brewers went into New York. They won once, dropped 2 out of 3 in that series. A shot right off the leg of Nice. Fires, going as fast as he can. He's safe. An infield hit, and that one bit Jonathan Nice. He's hurting. It's just the 2nd hit of the year for Mike Fiers. And that caught Nice flush in the calf, I think.
He gets good extension on this pitch. Out over the plate. Looks like he got him right on the back of the knee.
Ouch.
You know, that right leg. Fiers sniffing base hit. Busting it down that line and able to get a base hit.
And huffing and puffing now at first base. It's going to be interesting to see if Nice will be able to continue in this game.
You mentioned that starting pitching is the strong suit of this Mets club. The idea in this series to get into that bullpen early. It looks like he's going to be all right.
Says he's all right. It's his push leg, the one that got hit by that line drive. Already wears a brace on that left knee as it is. Knee injury a few years back. All right, so Nice will continue. Fiers is aboard on a 2-out single, giving Segura a swing. He's 0 for 2 tonight. I mean, if you're a hitter in this spot, don't you have to see what his command's going to be like?
Yeah, take a couple, maybe drop one down, see if he can move off that mound a little bit. There you go.
And Segura shows bunt. Nice misses badly, and it's 2-0. Three and 0. I'm sure that has the Mets bench a little concerned. Lucroy to follow. Segura trying to get him there. That one's in there. Comes back from 3-0. Now in a full count. That's going to give Fiers a head start at first. 3-2 with 2 away. to right. Base hit. Fires will stop at second. Brewers go station to station here. A good piece of hitting there by Segura. His first hit of the night comes on a 2-out, 2-strike pitch.
I don't think Fires took off on the pitch. He did not take off on the 3-2, 2 outs. Had he done that, he might be able to get into third base. I'm not sure what's going on there, but there's a base running mistake, even by the pitcher. Got to take off in that situation.
And Granderson does not have a good throwing arm. Most will take the extra base on the Mets right fielder. So maybe a missed opportunity. We'll see what Lucroy does here. 2 outs, 2 on. Brewers down 2-1. Lucroy has grounded out twice. Both of them have gone to third base. Last time up, he stranded a runner at third.
Yeah, Luke's rolled over on a couple of pitches. A couple of 5-3 putouts. That's not his game. His game is up the middle and the right field.
It's maybe a little jumpy at the plate, huh?
Yeah, just kind of getting out there a little bit too much. Pressing, that's what it does for you.
In the air to right center, hit pretty well. Long run, Granderson, he's there, and that will retire the side. So the Brewers strand 2 more. 2-1 Mets.
Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Mike Fiers back to work from the Mets have a 2-1 lead here in the 5th, and the Brewers' wives have created baskets filled with their husband's favorite things. The baskets are available on the Brewers' website during an online auction starting today through Sunday, June 29th. Each basket will contain some of the players' favorite things along with an autographed item. Proceeds will support Lissy's Place, a service for young women between the ages of 18 and 24 who have experienced some form of domestic violence, emotional, physical, or mental abuse. So a terrific cause for the Brewers' wives to support there.
All right, Sophia, thanks. That is a good cause. We support it wholeheartedly.
Yes, sir.
Carlos Gomez will be donating some cool items, you can bet. Jonathan Neese will start the inning for the Mets. He led off in the 3rd inning.
What would a basket that Brian Anderson puts together? What would be in there? Some golf balls?
No, I don't like giving away golf balls.
Kale chips, stuff like that.
I'll give away a few kale chips. Yeah, happy to. Unopened.
Those ones we had in Colorado?
Yeah, those still are having an effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went a little ambitious with our delectables there in Colorado. We went from kale chips to Rocky Mountain oysters, which they sell at the stadium.
not great.
You didn't like him?
I didn't.
I did.
I noticed you finished them all off.
I did. I like them. It's the only, you only get those there, don't you? I mean, there's no other place where you get those.
Well, I'm glad, because I felt a little bit of an obligation to the bull that they didn't just throw them in the trash.
Yeah, that's what you call a commitment.
That is a commitment.
Yeah.
That's all in. One and two to the pitcher, Nice. Out to Perez. And the first out for Fires. Curtis Granderson now with one away. Put the first run on the board for the Mets, and it was a no-doubter in the third inning. Came with one out. Up into the Lowe's level of the outfield bleachers.
Yeah, down and in, you don't want to throw it there. They were trying to set it up on the outside corner, but Fires missed. And Granderson did not.
Three guys in the lineup for the Mets now with 10 homers. Granderson, the latest of which. Lucas Duda, Wilmer Flores, the other two. And a slow curve misses to Granderson. 70 miles an hour with that curveball. There aren't many big league pitchers that can throw a curveball that slow.
Right, and still get a break on it. Right. But he has not been able to throw that for a called strike yet, except for the one that he threw to Granderson in the first inning.
That struck him out. Good comeback pitch there, down 2-0.
Changeup. He's got a feel for it tonight. He's not getting the call on the curveball, so he's going changeup.
Couple of shakes. He's got the one he wants. And a high fastball misses. Sometimes when you see a pitcher shake off, it's not because he doesn't like the pitch. It can be. But a lot of times catchers will tell him to shake off. They'll give a hand signal to shake off as Granderson draws the walk.
And usually that's in an obvious fastball situation. 2-0, 3-1. Just to put a little doubt in the hitter's mind. Not that they don't know a fastball is coming. They're not going to be looking for it. But you know, you start shaking off, they start questioning what's coming in. But if you're a hitter and you're in that kind of a count, it doesn't matter what the pitcher's doing. You're looking fastball. If you don't get it, don't swing.
A lot of thought that goes into a game plan for pitcher and catcher and pitching coach.
Every day, right after the catcher of the day takes batting practice in Group 1, they get together, starting pitcher, Rick Kranitz, catcher. They get together in that conference room in the clubhouse and they go over every hitter.
And Fires throws this one away. Granderson on his way to second. Fires has a very quick move to first, but he is prone to the errors at times. That'll be an E1 to get Granderson into scoring position for the Mets.
Sometimes the feeder's so fast that the arm can't catch up, and you end up throwing it away. So another situation where the Brewers allow a free base.
Second error of the year for Fires, both of them throwing errors. So it takes the Mets out of a double play situation.
And that's a big deal because the Mets hit into a lot of double plays. '69 double plays. That leads the league.
Now Kadire leads that group with 12. One ball, one strike. Tejada takes a ball. Tejada's been a little banged up himself. Did not play on Sunday. Had an ankle injury. Rolled his ankle while playing third base in Atlanta. That's got swept by the Braves. Braves now at 500. They're just two back. Ground ball right to Perez. That'll advance a runner. The second out of the inning.
Yeah, but that's a double play ball.
So 2 away for Lucas Duda. I would imagine, Rock, if you're looking at this Mets lineup, and Counsell has done this in his time as manager, he's singled out one guy that you don't allow to beat you in certain spots. And there are some choices here for the Mets, but I would imagine Duda is high on that list. Fires starts him with a curveball.
Yeah, but you got Kadire on deck. I mean, so that's a little bit of a tough spot. But, you know, Duda is certainly the guy with the big power. Not as much of a shift this time. You had Perez on the edge of the grass. He was into short right field his last time up.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I was going to say it because, you know, and you expect Ramirez to be a little bit closer to third base. You don't want Granderson walking halfway to home plate. But not sure why Perez is not where he was last time.
Which was about 15 steps into the grass in short right. Now I could see it with 1 out, but with 2 outs, the force at first negates the run regardless. Duda did drive one right through that shift his last time up.
Yes, he did. Hit it hard.
Maybe they don't like the matchup. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And a high fastball doesn't get him to bite. Count is full on Duda. A lot of breaking stuff and off-speed stuff from Fires. This time a fastball called strike 3. Lucas Duda barking on his way out. Mike Fires hits the bottom of the strike zone to end the inning, stranding a runner at third. Strikeout number 5 for Fires. And Ryan Braun will lead off in this 5th inning. At the plate, presented by Wendy's, has not been retired. Singleton scored in the first. He walked to lead off the 3rd. And he'll be leading off once again here in the 5th. Jonathan Neese has a lead 2-1. He's given up 6 hits. The Brewers have out-hit the Mets 6-4. That's got a homer from Granderson in the 3rd inning, and then a sac fly from their catcher, Kevin Plawecki, in the 4th. Brewers have left some runners out there so far tonight. They've stranded 7 already.
Yep, 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight. Had a leadoff double in the second, not able to score him. That hurt.
Braun's coming off a tough road trip. Had just 3 hits in 19 at-bats. That did have a homer on that road trip. Pitch number 3 called to strike. Braun not happy with that. Both sides are chirping a little bit at home plate umpire Larry Vanover. Here's a 1-2, and it's in the dirt. Count evens at 2-2. Ryan Braun, starting play today, ranks among National League leaders in RBIs. He's 8th. Homers, tied for 8th with 14. And most of that coming in his last 49 games. There's a date in late April that he really started to swing the bat. April 28th is the demarcation date. He's got 13 homers, 40 RBIs over that stretch. He had a very slow start to the season, the first 2.5 weeks.
Early in the season, trying to get over some bad habits that he picked up last year with that bad thumb. He's going along pretty well, and all of a sudden that thumb started acting up again and had to get a shot. And still looking for that consistency. They all are.
Braun hits 3rd, Gomez 4th tonight. Here's a 3-2, and it is a called strike 3. Nice hits the edge, and Braun is rung up.
First strikeout for Jonathan Nice.
1 out for Carlos Gomez, and we check in with Sophia.
BA Craig Counsell said that Dan Wright and the training staff pushed Gomez as hard as they could. He said he passed every test outside of game action, but he said the last step will be for Gomez to execute plays without thinking, whether it's scoring from second, running down a deep ball. He said his status will be clear when he's able to make those plays pain-free.
Well, and again, I think most importantly, you know, hit a ground ball, you busted out of the batter's box. I mean, all that stuff that they were doing was in a controlled situation, and game speed you can't replicate. And you make that first step going after a fly ball, you get out of the batter's box, you take off from first base on a base hit.
Inside, that hit him. Gomez goes right down on that hit, and looks to be all right. Gomez will reach with 1 away. A hit batter, first of the night for Nice.
That high leg kick, the key is to put the foot down before you start your swing. Gets him right on the foot.
On the left hip. His right hip is the injured hip. So he is aboard for Adam Lind. I think part of the thinking for putting Gomez in that cleanup spot to hit in front of Lind. He's in our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Gomez had a base hit. Got Lind to the plate with 2 outs, and he singled in Ryan Braun. It'll probably slow Gomez down as well. Won't be so compelled to try to steal bases. And you got a power hitter behind him. So as a leadoff hitter is just a different mentality. You feel like you have to push the envelope and maybe steal a few bags. Nice is tough to steal on anyway.
I was going to say, probably not a good situation for Gomez to try and steal, because Nice has a good move to first. Tough to get a good jump.
His first 2 Ks of the night have come here in this 5th inning. And now Ramirez with 2 outs and Gomez at first. Now Ramos had a walk in the first. He was left stranded. Flew out on the first pitch to left field in the 3rd. A rare walk by Ramirez in the 1st inning. Just his 9th.
Doesn't often see 4 pitches, does he?
Not around very long, Ramirez.
He attacks early. Nothing wrong with it. He's made a career of it. And it's been a very good one.
And he doesn't discriminate either. Fastball, breaking ball, changeup. If it's in a particular zone, he's ready to let it go. That one right down the chute. "18 years in the big leagues, Ramirez led the National League in doubles in his first year with the Brewers in 2012. 0-2. It's got Ramirez shaking his head.
Yeah, a lot of hitters, giving him the business here tonight.
Wow, there's an open window out there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a couple in this inning. Swing and a miss. Ramirez strikes out. Nice strikes out the side. His first 3 Ks of the game. Two to 1. Our Carsoup.com trivia. Who did Darryl Hamilton replace in center field on the night of his Major League debut, June 3rd, 1988? And the answer, as you see Hamilton's Wall of Honor plaque, that would be Robin Yount. He singled in his first MLB at-bat in the 3rd inning of that game, and didn't get a chance to play center field much with Yount in center field. That was Darryl's most natural position, where he was most comfortable. That was an 8-2 win on June 3rd of '88 at County Stadium.
Good contact hitter. He could play anywhere for you. He was a smart player. I mean, didn't make mistakes. He thought things through. He anticipated well. Very good eye at the plate. He'd take his walks. Hit the ball where it's pitched. Just a good all-around baseball player, and had a nice long career.
Ball and a strike on Kadire, and a swing and a miss. Just looking at the lineup from that day when Darryl made his MLB debut. And Molitor leading off, Surhoff, Robin Yount, Greg Brock was in the lineup, Rob Deere. Dale Swain was the shortstop that day, and Gantner played second base. Matter of fact, Hamilton hit for Dale Swain, and then would stay in the game to play center.
Yeah, that was my last year with the Brewers. I got traded to the Angels in the offseason. Remember, Darryl was a young player, always looking to improve, always talking to guys like Yount and Molitor.
Got so much reverence for them as well. And those stories you guys would tell about how you learn to play the game, and that's something I know you did it, and Darryl, it's kind of what he ended up being known for, passing on the protocol in the game. You know, some of the unwritten rules on the field, off the field, in the clubhouse, the buses. And
yeah, that's what, you know, he learned as a young player, and he did the same with players that came up after him. You don't see a lot of that anymore. I mean, guys are pretty much to themselves these days. I mean, there's a little bit of it. There's a few players. I would imagine a guy like Michael Kadire is like that. Torrey Hunter, known for that. You know, Cameron was very good about it. But it's a dying breed. It really is.
Got him. This time up the ladder with a fastball, and fires. Picks up his 6th strikeout. Second time he has gotten Michael Kadire. Well, a lot of the players, certainly a number of the Mets organization had some thoughts on Darryl Hamilton as well. Sophia, great work earlier today. I know you spent time in both dugouts and chatting with some of the on-field personnel about Darryl today.
Yes, Craig Counsell sharing his memories, said of course he was a terrific player, but he said what he'll most remember is just that smile that he always had on his face at the baseball field. He said he was always happy, always in a good mood. You saw that last year when he filled in for Bob Uecker, and he recalled a quote that Darryl Hamilton had shared with the media. Said, hey, we're the Brew Crew. We're going to win. So he said that quote showed that he really was a Brewer, and it was the organization that he most identified with from his 13-year career. Terry Collins also offered great things to say about him, saying you never hear anybody in baseball say a bad thing about Darryl Hamilton, and that's saying something about his character.
Yeah, you never forget. You're always very appreciative of the organization. It gives you a chance to get to the big leagues, and certainly Darryl was a Brewer through and through, and it was great having him around, you know, during those months last year on the road when Bob Uecker would not travel. He had Darryl on the buses, and he'd be hanging out in the clubhouse, and he would try and, you know, take a guy under his wing, even as a part-time broadcaster. Being around the ball club, he'd notice things. He'd go up to a guy, maybe say a few words, and you know, whether the guy listened to it or not, that wasn't his issue. He just felt like it was his obligation and something that he had to do as a former player, just to impart that wisdom.
He was a great teacher. He had a teacher's personality. Darryl, we lost him way too soon. Just a tragic occurrence there in Pearland, Texas, his home. Got news of that yesterday. Darryl and I share the same agent as well, and he's an agent, but he's a friend as well. So we were all just really close and always had good laughs. And Darryl took a lot of that, you know, what he had on the baseball field that Rock's talking about, into the broadcasting world as well. He wanted to learn. He wanted to get better. He wanted to talk about how to be a better broadcaster. And he had done a lot of studio work. So when he started to do games for the Brewers, as Fires picks up his 2nd strikeout of the inning, the 3rd in a row. 7 Ks for Fires. Well, Darryl would always ask us, hey, let's go have lunch. Let's talk about the art of broadcasting and how can I do better at this, and when should I start a conversation this way. And just the guy never stopped, and he was always smiling, and
he wasn't afraid to pick on himself either. I mean,
no.
that's a good trait. I mean, he'd laugh, and just a fun guy to be around. Bottom line, I mean, it's a guy that you gravitated toward him, not only because he was a snappy dresser, but he had a good disposition.
We tried tonight. We didn't come close. He'd be laughing at us tonight.
Yeah, he'd be disappointed at us.
But we tried.
But he'd be glad that we tried. You're right. I mean, he'd
appreciate the effort.
Stepped it up a little bit.
And then he always asked, he'd say, you tied that bow tie yourself, right? Which I did not, and I'd be embarrassed.
And he'd know if you were lying.
Oh, yeah, he'd know. He would.
Because you know what he'd do? He'd snap it off and make you tie it again.
Right in front of him. That's exactly right. Ah, shoot. You know, Darryl Hamilton is part of baseball history. He was the first player to record a hit in interleague play.
Is that right?
So had the first interleague base hit. He was playing for the Giants at the time, I believe. 2-2. Drafted by the Brewers. He came up with the Brewers in '88, went back down, and then back up for good in '90. Played with the Rangers, the Giants, Rockies. Traded from the Rockies to the Mets. He was part of a couple of playoff teams. That one hit the batter and then hit Lucroy, I think. Or maybe just caught Lucroy square.
I'm not sure how that happened. It was a carom of some kind. I'm not sure how it hit Luke.
Maybe crossed him up here. I thought it might have hit Lagares first.
He's not going anywhere.
Oh, that was a foul ball, and man.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
The worst spot to get hit. Hang in there, Luke. Any other position player on the field had that happen to him, the entire dugout would empty to check him.
Happens to a catcher. Everybody out there laughing. Greg Brock used to do that to me all the time. He's standing out there, have his glove over his face. You could see him laughing. Occupational hazard.
Two-two pitch and a little jam shot out to Perez, and that will retire the side. Well, we get on with the business of baseball today, but this telecast dedicated to Hambone, our friend, our teammate, our brother.
It's impossible. 2-1 Mets. Nothing says summer like Brewers baseball in the State Fair, and with the Fair Days double play, you'll get a ticket to the Brewers game and general admission to the Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular. All for just $15. For details, go to brewers.com/State Fair.
Jonathan Neese back to work, and Parra flirting with the bag at first. Hey, good play over there by the ball boy. Showing a little range. Hey, thank you, sir. Well done. Everybody's expected to make plays. Gerardo Parra starts it for the Brew Crew. Bottom of the order coming up. Might have seen the end of Mike Fiers with his spot due up third. The Brewers bullpen is active.
We got Jason Rogers on the bench, a big left-handed bat. I should say right-handed bat with a left-hander out there.
Here's the 0-2. Parra whistles one into right, base hit. Well, he just keeps hitting. This guy's been something for the Brewers this year.
Man, just waited back long enough on that curveball, that slow breaking pitch. Nice left it over the middle of the plate a little bit too much, and Parra able to get a leadoff single. Third time the Brewers have had their leadoff hitter on.
Hernan Perez now with a runner at first. He's 1 out of 2. Had a double his first time up. His third double in the last 5 games. 10 hits in his last 21 at bats. Hernan Perez. Jason Rogers on deck. He'll pinch hit. Fire's done for the day. Still got a chance to win this one. Jeremy Jeffress will be next out of the pen. Bottom of the Mets order coming up in 7th. If the Brewers can take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th and hang on, have a chance to win it. Parra takes off, throw to second is into center. Parra didn't see it right away. He's in there with a stolen base. Throw didn't look that bad, but Herrera couldn't bring it in for the out.
Man, not a very good jump or a lead for that matter, but I think if Herrera handles that one, Parra's going to be out. Good pitch to throw on for Plawecki. He just missed it.
Yeah.
I mean, Herrera just flat missed that baseball.
A stolen base for now. 5 out of 5 this year in stolen bases. Perez a chance to drive in the tying run. Takes strike 1. 1 for 2 tonight. He has 11 hits as a Brewer, does Perez. He was 2 for 33 with Detroit. Brewers got him in early June.
Yeah, a little different with some consistent playing time and pretty good eye that time as well.
And he draws the walk, which will put runners at first and second, and Collins sends Dan Warthen, the pitching coach.
It was Jason Rogers on deck, but now with first and second and nobody out, Craig Counsell is going to send up Hector Gomez, probably to drop down a bunt.
Ansel Robles in the bullpen. That's right. That's exactly what Counsell is doing here. So Rogers is pulled back, and Gomez will come on to hit. It's just the second walk of the season for Hernan Perez, and it's a timely one. 2 on, nobody out. Close the book on fires as Hector Gomez is announced. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Wild pitch hurt him in the 4th. A leadoff walk and then a wild pitch led to that second run. 2 on, nobody out. Hector shows bunt, bunts it foul towards third.
Man, it didn't have to be perfect. That was more like a bunt for a base hit, the way he dropped it down. But you want to bunt it toward the third base and to make him leave the bag. Better chance for Parra to be able to get there. Got to execute. These are the little things that Craig Counsell has been wanting to get his team to do. Especially guys like Gomez who don't get a lot of playing time. You're expected to be able to drop down these bunts.
Gets that one down. That's a beauty. This is going to be a tough play, and nobody home at third. Everybody safe.
All right, what a beautiful bunt that was. Little indecision between Tejada and Jonathan Nice. They both went for it. Tejada went back. Nice didn't have a play at first base. And no play at third. Well, that's what we're talking about with the Mets. I mean, their defense has not been very good lately. And that's not going to be an error. It's going to be a base hit, but certainly a play that should have been made. They should have been able to get it out somewhere.
Now they're loaded up. Here is Segura. First ball swinging right back to the screen.
You can't answer much more than this. The base is loaded at the top of the order coming up.
The Brewers have stranded 8 through the first 5 innings. They've had a lot of traffic on Nice. And a shot foul almost hit Parra. Parra says, go that way, man. Anxious moments for Terry Collins in that Mets dugout. He's got activity in the bullpen, but he's going to let it ride with Nice. Segura had a single off Nice to right field his last time up. In the air to center. Lagares has a good arm. Let's see about this one. Parra's going to go. He'll test it. The throw goes to third, and they get the out at third base.
Oh, boy.
So Parra scores the tying run, but the second out at third base. Perez had no idea he'd throw that way.
I'm not sure why he would take off. I mean, that was not that deep. There's got to be something going on, as you mentioned, with that throwing on with Lagares, because ordinarily he's going to try and make a play at home plate. This is not a good idea by Hernan Perez. He's out without even sliding. He's out by about 10 feet. All the way going into third base. Takes the shore out with no outs. And a base running mistake by the Brew Crew.
Runner at second now with Lucroy at the plate. Sac fly and an RBI for Segura. 2-2 game. Brewers had them loaded with nobody out.
Not a bad start by Fiers. Yeah, base hit here. He might get a win.
Gomez has good speed at second. Brewers are 2 out of 6 with runners in scoring position, stranding 8 tonight. Got a run in the first. They've just added the tying run here in the 6th. And for the 3rd consecutive at bat, Lucroy is up there with a runner in scoring position.
And a guy with good speed out there.
Lucroy's 0 for 3 tonight. 1-1 pitch. Gets away from the catcher. All the way to the screen it goes. And Hector Gomez to third base. That opens up a few more opportunities to score. 2-1 on Lucroy. This figures to be the last hitter for Nice. I can't imagine that Collins would let it ride if Braun should bat.
Right. As good as Braun is against lefties throughout his career. And if he gets Luke here, his spot's due up third in the 7th.
Collins and Worthen. 2-1 pitch is a ground ball, gloved over there by Tejada. He spins and throws him out. Lucroy grounds to third for the 3rd time tonight. The Brewers strand 1. Mike Fiers cannot win, but they take him off the hook. We're tied at 2. 7th inning. Nice and Fires matching up tonight, playing to a draw thus far. Looks like Nice is out of the game. He's got his helmet and his bat, headed back into the clubhouse. Fires is out. 6 innings tonight. Jeremy Jeffress is the new Brewer pitcher. He'll have the 7th, and he'll have the bottom of the Mets order.
Yeah, good numbers for Jeremy. He's appearing in now his 35th game, a 2-0 record. A good .334 earned run average and more strikeouts than innings pitched. He's had a very good curveball as of late to go along with that heavy sinking fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Last pitched on Thursday against the Royals in Kansas City,
where Jeffress spent some time in the big leagues with Kansas City. Traded from the Brewers to the Royals in the Zach Greinke deal. He was one of the 4 that went. And then the Royals bounced him to Toronto. Brewers were able to get Jeffress from the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have taken him off their major league roster last year and went to AAA, dominated there, and then he continued to pitch well in the big leagues. And he is now a mainstay in the high leverage innings of the late relief for the Brewers.
Well, again, that's a good start by Mike Fires tonight. 2 runs in 6 innings. Had a good changeup tonight, one of his best of the season.
Well, we talked about, his times through the batting order. First time through, Mets got 2 hits, 2 for 9. Second time through, they scored both of their runs, 2 hits and a walk in 8 at bats. And then the Mets were 0 for 5. Third time through, Fires finished with his best inning, a 3-up, 3-down 6th inning with 2 strikeouts. So he turned those stats around a little bit tonight. Plawecki drove in a run on a sac fly in the 4th. At the time, gave the Mets a 2-1 lead.
Well, he's able to add a pitch tonight. Talking about Fires, he had the fastball, the cutter, the changeup, and the curveball working for him. When you get that many pitches working for you, you're going to be able to get to the lineup a few times. 1 or 2, not so much.
Broken bat, 1 hopper to Segura. That head went half as far. And 1 away. Jeffress will do that. He has a boring fastball. Not the kind that's not interesting, but the kind that really rides in on a right-handed hitter.
Yeah, he can get in some hands. And here's a good example of it right there. That fastball going in on the hands of Plawecki. And just not able to get the bat head out. Anything but boring. That fastball. Certainly not boring trying to hit it.
Dilson Herrera with 1 away.
Hitters would always prefer to hit velocity that's straight as opposed to maybe a little bit less velocity that moves a lot. Jeremy has both. That's a rare combination. 97 with movement.
That was a long process to get him to think that way as well. When he was a Brewer the first time around, he threw 100. He was consistently 98, 99, occasional triple digits, but he threw straight over the top 4-seam fastballs.
And had no curveball. Had no breaking ball to speak of.
It was the Blue Jays that got him into a more 3/4 delivery. And so he sacrificed 3-4 miles an hour maybe. And now you turn a 96-mile-an-hour power sinking fastball. That's why he has evolved into the pitcher that he is today. He could be one of the elite relievers in the game, and the Brewers are hoping at some point he could end up closing games.
There's one right there, 96. Movement going in on that hitter. And when he gets on top of it, not only will it bore in on him, it'll go down a little bit. 96 with a fastball. Curveball at 81.
See what he does here. 2-2. Slings it in there. Right to Perez. Little soft liner. Got in on his hands a little bit. Herrera is out. 2 up, 2 down for Jeremy Jeffress. So a pinch hitter for the Mets. Daryl Siciliani is coming off the bench. Nice, 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs. Walked 3, struck out 3. Hit a batter. Carlos Gomez. Siciliani turned 25 years of age yesterday. As a pinch hitter for the Mets this year, he is 3 for 14. Little half swing. He went. Larry Vanover doesn't need any help on that one. 0-2 the count. Oh, curveball hit him right in the foot. Let him get away with an 0-2 pitch.
He tried to spike the curveball down in the dirt, but held on to it a little bit too long, and Siciliani able to get first base. Looks like Craig Counsell wants a new pitcher.
He's got the left-hander Granderson coming up. So Counsell will play matchup here. Will Smith, the big lefty, is coming in a key at bat in this game. We play in the 7th. Granderson, who has homered, getting some instruction from Kevin Long, the hitting coach. We'll take a break, set up Will Smith when we continue from Miller Park. Had a hitter 0-2. He hit him, so he is out, and that sets up a matchup lefty-lefty with Will Smith.
Another guy posting some pretty good numbers this year. 32nd appearance, a 142 earned run average. Craig Counsell wants Smith against Granderson, but Granderson had pretty good numbers against Will. 2 for 4 and a home run. Will Smith against left-handers this year, a 225 average, but has not allowed a home run.
Yeah, that's interesting about the splits. You see what Granderson has done. That's probably the stat that most influences Craig Counsell. The fact that he's a 136 hitter against lefties. This is a big spot here. 7th inning. The Mets and the Brewers are tied. Got a runner at first. Granderson has already homered tonight. Hit a long home run into the bleachers in right in the 3rd inning. Walked his last time up. The numbers against Will Smith. Fastball in there. 94 with the heater from Smith. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Lucroy bobbles, and the throw skips in. No balls, 2 strikes on Granderson now. Lucroy bobbled for a moment, and it might have been best just to hold that one.
Tough one to throw on right there. I mean, down and away. That one actually hit Segura in the foot, keeping it in the infield.
4 steals already for Siciliani. So now the go-ahead run in scoring position. 0-2 the count on Granderson.
I wonder if Smith's going to mess around on the inside corner with a fastball here. That's the pitch that he out of the ballpark on Mike Fiers. Just stay away with the breaking stuff.
Fastball away. Misses. 2-2 now. Good play by Lucroy. Heck of a save to keep the runner at second, but now the count is full. Will Smith already has a healthy dislike for the Mets. He grew up a Braves fan in Atlanta. Got a big pitch coming here. Full count, 2 outs. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Granderson is gone. Will Smith went right back to the breaking ball to get him. Ryan Braun will lead off when we come back. We're headed for the home 7th. Stretch time at Miller Park. We're all tied at 2. A 2-2 game. The Brewers able to tie it up in the 6th. And the new pitcher is Hansel Robles.
Yeah, Robles last pitched on the 20th. That was a few days ago against the Braves. A scoreless inning, gave up a hit. Throwing the baseball better. A 5.29 earned run average. A very inconsistent bullpen. Yeah, for the Mets, their closer's been pretty good, but middle to late relief has been a bit up and down this year. 14 punch out for Robles in 17 innings of work.
Ryan Braun tonight is 1 for 2. Had a single and a run scored in the first. He walked in the third. Struck out looking his last time up in the 5th. Powerball home run leaderboard. Ryan Braun with 14. He's hit 8 on first pitch swings. And his 14 homers tied for 8th in the National League. Quickly 0-2 on Braun.
Yeah, Robles can rush it up there in the upper 90s. Just threw him a cut fastball right there at 88 miles an hour. He's got a changeup to go with it. He brings it pretty good.
First time I've seen a name Hansel not attached to the name Gretel. He's the first Hansel that I've come across.
Are you sure?
Just on the live action field.
I got you.
Zoolander excluded. 0-2 pitch. Braun fouls it back.
Probably a couple of Hansels in the Olympics you've seen before.
You know, I should really watch the Olympics more. You're right. Come across a lot of names.
Stick around. You see anything in this game.
Oh, 0-2 to Braun, leading off the 7th. And down he goes. Larry Vanover rings him up, and Braun is barking on his way out. Second consecutive at bat he has struck out looking.
Well, anything close, I recommend hitters to be attacking. That one looked like it was marginal. We've seen worse called for strikes tonight. Been a floating strike zone, to say the least, for Larry Vanover tonight. Very inconsistent.
Here's Gomez now. Carlos returning to the starting lineup. Missed 4 consecutive games. And had missed a couple prior to playing last Wednesday in Kansas City. He was the DH in that game.
We talked about Mike Fiers, how good he was. Jonathan Neese started out a little bit shaky. 4 hits and a run in the first inning. Struck out 3 all in the same inning. He struck out the side in the 5th. Good outing for him.
He's got 4 in a row.
Yeah.
4 quality outings in a row for the Mets. He's been the worst of the bunch, and that's saying something because his numbers aren't that bad outside of his record. His ERA decent, just over 4. They got a terrific starting rotation, the Mets. Gomez draws the walk. So Carlos, after being hit by a pitch his last time up, is aboard with 1 away, representing the go-ahead run here in the 7th.
Well, ordinarily this would be a definite running situation for Carlos, but you don't know these days. Not the way that leg's been feeling.
Terry Collins has a lefty ready in the bullpen, Sean Gilmartin, and he'll get the call to face the left-hander Adam Lind. Collins, who is never afraid to go match up in his bullpen. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of it the rest of the way. We'll take a break. And Carlos Gomez at first. Powerball home run count for the season, 62 for the Milwaukee Brewers, top 5 in the league. And they'd love to see another one added to the list here. Adam Lind had an opposite field home run the last time he touched them all. And it'll be Lind to match up against the Mets left-hander Sean Gilmartin.
Yeah, one of 3 left-handers down in the bullpen. The Mets carry 8 relievers in their pen, so they can do this all night if they want. You know, Gilmartin last pitched on the 20th against the Braves. An inning and a third scoreless. He's been pretty good as of late. A 190 earned run average.
In his first year in the big leagues. He's just 25 years of age. He was a first rounder by the Braves in 2011. And then traded from Atlanta to the Twins. And then the Mets got him in the Rule 5 draft. The winter draft. Players that are not protected on the major league roster go in the Rule 5 draft. The Mets snatched him up, and here he is in the big leagues. Got to stay in the big leagues this season.
Yep, not a hard throw at all. Gilmartin touches 90 maybe. But he's got a good slider and curveball. Do a change up to a right-handed batter. I would imagine he's going to try and keep Carlos as close as he can to first base.
And Lind, that's fair, just inside the bag. Down toward the sidewall it goes. It's bobbled out there, and here comes Gomez. He will score, and the Brewers lead 3-2.
Yeah, that's probably going to be an error, but all right, what a job of hitting by Adam Lind, taking that one to the opposite field. Right off the end of the bat on a pretty good pitch. And the Brewers had the right guy running. Look at that, stays right with it, slices it down the line, doesn't hit it all that hard. Then it goes right in between the legs of Michael Kadire. And that's what allowed Ed Cedar to send Carlos home with the go-ahead run.
Oh, a huge play. Double E7. No RBI for Lind. They're going to pitch around Ramirez here to get to the left-hander Parra. Brewers take the lead 3-2. And you could almost see it coming with as much spin as Lind put on that ball. It hit the wall and just shot off the concrete right between the legs of Kadire. That is a huge break.
Yes, it is. Well, there's that defense we've been talking about with the Mets. I mean, we've been talking about defense with the Brewers all season long, and Mets have not played very well defensively. Well, Carlos says he's feeling pretty good, and let's see how he looks going around the bases. I mean, not fully stretched out. I think he thought he was going to be held. And the ball gets through Kadire and scores easily. So that was about what, 75% for Go-Go?
Yeah, he didn't
really not looking to stretch it out at all.
Didn't unhitch the wagon. He's definitely protecting. Don't know if he's hurting. Sophia, she'll be down there and she'll be in the clubhouse after the game. She'll give you a report on Gomez and how he feels on Brewers Live post game. Dan Warthen working through it with Gilmartin, with Gerardo Parra coming up. Adam Lind's having a good night tonight. 2 hits, had a line drive out, drove in a run in the first. All smiles, Adam Lind. Always.
Why not? Very stern. He's serious, isn't he?
Got a chance here. The Brewers who add to it. Ramirez walks first and second now with 1 away. Parra takes a strike.
74 miles an hour with that curveball.
Sean Gilmartin played his college ball at Florida State. First year in the big leagues. Parra, right field, on a line, but right to Granderson. Little top spin line drive out.
And probably another pitching change coming.
2 outs. Terry Collins on his way. and wants to go with the right-hander. Might see the Brewers make a change as well.
Yeah, you got Scooter and Peterson on the bench, two left-handed hitters.
We'll set up the new pitcher when we continue. Bobby Parnell coming on. Counter Terry Collins. Peterson is in our AT&T Uverse Rewind and had a 3-hit game on Friday in Denver, and look at his last 7. 423 average. These are all in starts for Peterson. Had a triple, drove in a couple of runs, and has really put some stakes in the ground for the Brewers. He has been able to play well, and he has gotten rave reviews from his manager about how he approaches everything on the diamond, not just hitting.
Yeah, he loves putting him in the lineup. He's pinch hitting for a guy that's been swinging the bat well, just like he has. And Parnell in his 5th game here tonight. You see left-hander, right-hander splits. Right-hander's a little bit better than lefties. He's got a good changeup. Bobby Parnell back from Tommy John surgery. That's why he's only been able to pitch in 4 games.
Velocity is way down coming back from that surgery and throwing a lot of breaking balls, and he's only topping out at about 91, 92 maybe. This is a guy that threw 95 plus regularly, could get up to 98 before the injury. 2 on, 2 out. Brewers lead by a run, 3-2. Good swing by Peterson.
That's what you're talking about. 90 miles an hour right down the middle. At about 6 or 7 miles an hour when he was healthy.
The Mets have truly thrown together their bullpen. Their closer at the beginning of the year, Henry Mejia, suspended for 80 games. He's eligible to return July 7th. And they're trying to get Parnell back in the mix. 1-2 the count. That one coming in at 93, one of his better fastballs since coming back. Their closer now, Jeurys Familia, he's been dealing with a groin injury as well. He was out this weekend. Parnell was activated on June 11th. One and two. And Peterson stays alive.
And Craig Counsell electing to go with Peterson here, the hotter of the two between he and Jeanette. But Jeanette's going to have to go in the game defensively. So you're taking Gomez out. Peterson's going to hit, and then Jeanette's going to go in the game.
And that will leave only Maldonado and Rogers, who is on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. 2-2. It's the benefit of having a 5-man bench. And when your bullpen has been as successful as the Brewers pen has, it allows you to do that. Peterson looking for a big hit. Parnell deals a 2-2, and it is on the corner. A called strike 3. Larry Vanover rings up another. Parnell strands 2 more. The Brewers have left 11, but Carlos Gomez all the way around to score on the error by Kadire, and the Brewers have the late lead tonight.
Lee. Let's check out this pitch to Shane Peterson. A little bit low. You can see it on Fox Tracks right there. It looked like that was off the plate. The hitters and Larry Vano are not getting along too well tonight.
That is the truth. Well, the Brewers strand 2 more. 11 left. Scooter Gennett will take over at second base. So a Peterson hitting for Perez forces Counsell to use his only remaining infielder. He's got the 9th spot in the order to deal with in the bottom of this inning. He'll probably have Jason Rogers lead off. So here's Smith back on the mound. Smith getting the final out. He struck out Curtis Granderson to end the inning. Tejada, Duda, and Kadire.
Well, he's going to start the inning. He's got Tejada, then he got the left-hander Duda. He's probably going to be done after that.
I don't blame him from going in that spot. That's an open door out there.
Yeah, if you're a hitter, you got to swing at that at this point. I mean, he's been all over the place tonight in the strike zone.
Take what you're given.
Yeah.
Lucroy sets up out there. And the 0-2 swung on, missed. Hit the spot. Will Smith with a big fastball and a strikeout to start the 8th.
Well, you got to protect home plate up there with 2 strikes. Hey, a reminder that this Thursday is another Kids and Seniors discount day at Miller Park. The Brewers host the Mets at 1:00 p.m. and all kids 14 and under and seniors 60 and above will save 50% on tickets. For details, visit brewers.com/fan values.
Here's Lucas Duda with 1 away. 1 for 3 tonight. And a first pitch breaking ball misses. Mike Fiers started when 6 innings, gave up 2 runs. He struck out 7, and he struck out Duda in the 5th. That was to end an inning with a runner at third.
Yeah, that defense with a man at third base. I get it at this point. You know, you saw Ramirez where he is, and Segura was moved over. Now, if you know Ramirez close to the bag when there's a man at third base, and Segura has to scoot over more up the middle on the third base side of second base. If he doesn't do that the way it was back then when he was up with a man at third, I mean, a little slow roller is going to score a run because there's not going to be anybody over there to get it.
Which affects the way Perez at the time was.
He has to come in because a slow roller to second base is probably going to score a run. He's not going to be able to get there at this point. Segura is going to be able to make that play.
All right.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Smith getting back in the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Duda. Smith has a nasty slider. Usually when he breaks it out in a spot like this. And goes with a fastball instead, and down goes Duda. Called strike 3, back-to-back Ks.
I think he had Duda looking for a slider. Check out Lucroy right on the outside corner. Here it is, off the plate. But you got to be swinging tonight, folks. I mean, that's just the way this strike zone is tonight.
Now that outside corner is wide open, and credit to Lucroy and Smith for attacking that spot. Lucroy's back out there again.
Well, Will Smith is going to stay out there to face Kadire. Broxton was up, getting loose.
This is the 10th pitch of the inning for Smith. Falls behind him 2-0. So it's been a quick 8th inning, but a dominant 8th. He has struck out all 3 batters he has faced. And Counsell, who said he will most definitely play some hunches every now and then. All managers do. Ground ball to short. Segura winds it up. And how about those 4 outs from Will Smith? 4 up, 4 down, 3 Ks. To the bottom of the 8th we go. Brewers lead.
Will Smith, 4 outs as he helps in relief here, doing an outstanding job late in the ballgame. Brewers up 3-2. Adam Lind, though, the guy we want to look at, 2 RBIs tonight, 2 off left-handed pitchers.
Yeah, you know, Adam just kind of hung right in there, let the ball travel deep, hit it back through the middle. Hey, then, you know, he comes back up, inside out, the ball down the left field line. Outstanding at bats.
Very, very timely indeed. A 3-2 ball game. Brewers Live post game coming up right at the conclusion, Brian.
All right, Craig and Davey, I beg your pardon. Thank you. Almost dropped an Augie on Davey right there.
Oh, you did.
Craig and I kind of went Augie.
You knew what you meant.
My bad, Davey.
It's all right. Augie's still in the Dells.
Yeah, that's right. Davey should get top billing. From now on, they'll be known as Davey and Craig. Jason Rogers pinch hitting to start the bottom of the 8th. Parnell returns to the mound. think the plan for the Mets when Mejia returns, he had such a great year last year for him closing games. He'll move into the 8th inning role. That's been a job that Terry Collins has had a tough time filling. And doesn't really play the roles so far this year other than Familia closing games. Back to that outside corner, and Rogers disagrees, but it's going to be called.
You know, you got to swing at it. You only swing at it with 2 strikes, though. You don't want to swing at that on a 2-0 count.
Back out there goes Plawecki, and right on the spot, and strike 2 it is.
Yeah. Now you got to swing at it.
If you're catching in a game like this, you know,
oh yeah,
this is the zone, and you're going to maybe see how far he'll go. Rogers among National League leaders in pinch hits. And that one just missed.
That's been called a strike many times tonight. You know, back in the old days, before they had this grading system, that outside corner was open a lot more than it is tonight. You showed the umpire you're going to be able to dot the I out there. He's going to give it to you.
Comes back in the zone. Rogers got jammed a little bit. And there is out number 1. First of 3 with the Mets are Miller Lite What's on Tap. Pitching matchup for tomorrow, Bartolo Colon against Jimmy Nelson. On the air at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. First pitch at 7:10. Miller Lite What's on Tap tomorrow. The final game of this series Thursday is a matinee.
Well, Colon's been getting hit. He got off to a great start.
A couple of big bodies on the mound tomorrow, huh? Bartolo Colon and Jimmy Nelson.
Jimmy had a rough first inning at Kansas City. That was what, Thursday? He was able to settle down pretty nicely.
Yeah, Royals won that game 3-2. Kind of a survival game for Jimmy Nelson against the Royals Thursday. Well, he's hoping to get back on track. 2-0 to Segura. Bouncing ball, shortstop Flores. Got him. 2 outs. Segura 1 for 4 tonight. He had a sacrifice fly that tied this game in the 6th. And with 2 away, here is Lucroy. Francisco Rodriguez ready to emerge, and a save opportunity in front of him at this point. K-Rod is 13 for 13 in save chances. Well, if the Brewers can win this game, stranding 11 base runners, there'll be more than just a victory on the scoreboard. Excellent pitching. And once the Brewers took the lead, that error by Kadire gave Milwaukee the lead. And then you step into the best part of the Brewers. They've struggled in most areas of play, but the bullpen is their strength.
Yep.
And especially the late relief.
You get a lead late, it's pretty much lockdown.
And tonight it's been Jeffress and Will Smith. Fires went 6. Jeffress 2/3 of an inning. Smith got the last 4 outs on 3 strikeouts. Lucroy chased one. Plawecki will secure it at first, and the inning is over, and the stage is set for the former Met. Francisco Rodriguez is on to try to nail it down. He's 13 for 13. 1 run to work with. Francisco Rodriguez on the mound. 3-2. Milwaukee has a lead. We go to the 9th. Brewers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. First man up for the Mets will be Wilmer Flores.
Yeah, K-Rod looking for a save number 14. He hasn't had a save since June 11th against the Nationals. That's a long time. That's 12 days in between saves. He did pitch on Saturday just to dust off the cobwebs. It was almost a week between appearances for K-Rod.
Now Frankie was lights out in that appearance with the Brewers down big in Colorado. He struck out the side. It was in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Rockies. He's got a power hitter at the plate, Wilmer Flores, to start this inning. Lagares will follow, and then Kevin Plawecki.
I'm sure the word is out that that outside corner is wide open for the pitcher. That's where Rodriguez likes to attack with a fastball anyway, down and away.
1 ball, 1 strike. In there. 1-2. It's about as hard as K-Rod will throw. Occasionally he'll get to 92. But anything over 90 means he's feeling pretty good.
And that's okay with the changeup that he has. Probably going to see one right here.
One ball, 2 strikes. Lucroy setting up inside. And a fastball called strike 3. K-Rod shook Lucroy off a few times and put it right on the button to strike him out.
Gutsy pitch right there, coming inside at 91. Off the plate. What's new tonight?
No need to throw strikes. First K for K-Rod, the first batter faced, and here is Juan Lagares. Curveball. Lagares is 0 for 3. He made a key defensive play in this game. With the bases loaded and nobody out, a fly ball his direction. Instead of throwing home to try to throw the runner out, he went to third. And while the runner scored, he threw out Perez at third base, getting 2 quick outs, and that bases loaded nobody out situation. The Brewers were only able to get 1. That was in the 6th. Frankie's got him 1-1. On the edge. 1-2. A pro's pro, Frankie Rodriguez, on the mound. This guy knows what he's doing. And when he is fresh and hasn't been used a lot, he's got impeccable command with everything he throws. Here's the 1-2. Back out there, forces Lagares into a swing.
I hadn't thrown a changeup yet. Been all fastballs, 1 curveball. He threw a curveball to Lagares here on the first pitch.
Yeah, a souvenir for a young man. That's worth staying up for. Lucroy wants a fastball away again. Sets up out there. The 1-2 and misses badly. Mets have a pinch hitter, Johnny Manel. Their other catcher got a little more pop than Plawecki, and looks like he'll hit next. Here's a 2-2.
Tried to change up that time. First one of the inning.
Brewers outfielders Playing about normal depth. You got the corner infielders protecting those lines, trying to protect from an extra base hit. Full count. And a swing and a miss. He got him. Struck him out. K-Rod living up to his nickname. Back-to-back Ks here in the ninth.
Yeah, throwing a changeup. Back-to-back changeups. On a 3-2 count, Lagar is saying, I'm going to see a fastball here. Here's a changeup. Down in the dirt. And Lagar's no chance.
It's a thing of beauty. His signature pitch. 2 gone. Brewers pitching tonight has struck out 12 Mets. Here is Johnny Manel. Pinch hitting. Fastball missed. One nothing Brew Crew. 2 away. Manel, a little half swing. Did he go? He did not. Third base umpire is Brian Knight. 2-0. That was close. Just 12 games for Manel. Travis d'Arnaud is out with an injury. On the active roster though, but out with an injury. And the 2-0, a swing and a miss. He was ready to let it loose. And he got the changeup from Rodriguez. Always a way back in the count when you have a pitch like that. Ground ball. Coming in, Jeanette, shovel it to first. Ball game. Francisco Rodriguez picks up a save against his old club. Adam Lind with a couple of hits and an RBI. The Brewers win tonight 3-2. Gomez's mad dash representing the winning run after the Kadir error tonight. K-Rod with his 14th save, 14 out of 14 on the year, makes a winner out of Will Smith, who is 3-0. Robles the loss for the Mets. Brewers win despite stranding 11 men on base. And the Mets losing streak is now at 6 in a row. It's time for Brewers Live. We check in with Craig Kashawn. He's with Davey Nelson. Take it away, Craig.
Well, it's about as solid a win as it gets all the way around for Milwaukee. 3-2 is the final. We're here from Craig Counsell. Brewer winners in the clubhouse as well. It's about time. Good way to start the homestand. Brewers Live is next.